Here is a triangle drawn on a square grid. Draw a rectangle on the grid with the same area as the triangle. So to find the area of a triangle, we multiply the base by the height and then divide by 2. So we need to work out 4 times 4 divided by 2. 4 times 4 is 16, divided by 2 is 8. So the area of the triangle is 8 centimetres squared. So we could draw a rectangle with a width of 2 centimetres and a length of 4 centimetres, because to find the area of a rectangle, we multiply the width by the length, and 2 times 4 is 8. And that makes sense because we can see that we have 8 squares inside our rectangle. Or we could draw a rectangle like this, with a width of 1 and a length of 8, because 1 times 8 is also 8, so we'll also have an area of 8 centimetres squared. F is the centre of a regular pentagon. Work out the value of angle X. So we know that it's a regular pentagon, and the word regular tells us that all of the sides are the same length. So if this angle here is 72 degrees, then these other angles around the centre will be 72 degrees as well. Now we need to spot that we have isosceles triangles, and isosceles triangles have 2 equal angles and 2 equal sides as well. So we can see that this side here is the same length as this line here, so that means the triangle is isosceles. So because it's isosceles, we know that the angles in the corners of the triangle will be the same size, and there are 180 degrees in a triangle. Angles in a triangle add up to 180 degrees. So if we subtract 72 from 180, that gives us 108. So the 2 angles in the bottom of each triangle will have a total of 108 degrees. And because the angles are equal, to find each angle, we can divide 108 by 2, and that tells us that the angles at the bottom or in the corners of the triangle will be 54 degrees, because 54 plus 54 is 108, plus 72 is 180. So now for angle X, we can see that we have 54 here and another 54 here, so that's 108 degrees altogether. Now a much easier way of solving this question is to know that angles in a pentagon always add up to 540 degrees. So remember, a triangle 180, a quadrilateral or 4-sided shape 360, and a pentagon, the angles will add up to 540. And because it's a regular pentagon, the angles in the corners will all be the same size. So because a pentagon has 5 corners, we can divide 540 by 5, and that tells us that there will be 108 degrees in the angles in the corners. Joe has 2 strips of card. Each strip is 36 centimetres long. One strip is divided into 3 equal parts. The other strip is divided into 4 equal parts. Joe uses the 2 strips to make this shape. What is the total length of Joe's shape? So we can see that the length is 36 centimetres. So that means each of these rectangles must have a length of 12 centimetres, because 36 divided by 3 is 12, or 12 times 3 is 36. And these rectangles here must have a length of 9 centimetres, because 36 divided by 4 is 9. So we can write what we know on these rectangles here. So what we need to find out to find the total length is to find the length of this gap here. Now we know that this rectangle at the top is 12 and this rectangle is 9, and they line up together, so we know that this space here must be 3 centimetres. So now, to find the total length, we can add 3 and 36, because 4 times 9 is 36, and that gives us a length of 39 centimetres. The diagram shows 3 identical shaded triangles on coordinate axes. What are the coordinates of A and B? So we know that this point here is 25, 0, and that will help us work out the length of a triangle, because the triangle starts when x is 0, so the length of a triangle must be 25. And because the triangles are identical, this length will be 25, and this length here will be 25 as well. So we can write the y-coordinate for point A on our axes. This triangle starts where y is 0, so if we add 25, because we know that's the length of a triangle, we know that the y-coordinate will be 25. Now we can't yet find the y-coordinate for B, but to work it out, we can spot that this length here must be 6. That's because we have 0 and minus 6, and minus 6 is 6 less than 0. So that means this distance here, again because it's a base of a triangle and the triangles are identical, this must be 6 as well, which means that we have a y-coordinate here of 19, so 6 less than 25. We also have a length here of 6, and 25 minus 6 is 19, so the x-coordinate here is 19. Now, to find the x-coordinate of B, we know that the x-coordinate here is 19, so we need to find 25 less than 19. That's minus 6, because if we subtract 19 from 19, that takes us to 0, but because we want to subtract 25, after subtracting 19, we need to subtract 6 more. So that means A has an x-coordinate of 19, because this point here is 25, and we found that the base of a triangle is 6, and it has a y-coordinate of 25, because that's the length of a triangle. And point B has an x-coordinate of minus 6, so 25 less than 19, and it has a y-coordinate of 19, because the length of a triangle is 25, but the base is 6, and 25 minus 6 is 19. Javed makes rectangular frames with grey centimetre squares. N stands for the number of grey centimetre squares in a frame. Javed has a formula for working out N. N equals 2L plus W in brackets minus 4, where L is the length and W is the width. Javed makes a frame with a length of 28 and a width of 15. Use the formula to work out how many grey squares he uses. So we can write 28 and 15 into our formula. So we have 2 times 28 plus 15 in brackets minus 4. 28 plus 15 is 43, and 2 times 43 is 86. So if we subtract 4, that gives us 82 grey squares. Now, Javed makes a square frame with 84 grey squares. Use the formula to work out how many grey squares are in each side of the square frame. So in a square, the length and the width are the same. So we can write 84, that's the number of grey squares, equals 2 times 2 lengths minus 4, because here, in a square, the length and width will be the same. So 2 times 2 lengths is 4 lengths, so 84 equals the 4 lengths minus 4. That means the 4 lengths in total must be 88, because 88 minus 4 is 84. And if 4 lengths are 88, we can find 1 length by dividing 88 by 4, and that gives us 22. So there are 22 grey squares in each side or each length of the square frame. The graph shows the average heights of girls in the UK from age 6 to 11 years. Emily is 1.38 metres tall. She is the average height for her age. How old is she? So 1.38 metres is the same as 138 centimetres. So that's this line here. We know that she's the average height, and the graph, the line on the graph, shows the average height. So we can draw a line straight down from where our line hits the line on the graph, and we can see that that's 10 years. So Emily must be 10 years old. Now Zoe is 9.5 years old. She is also 1.38 metres tall. How much taller than average is she? Give your answer in centimetres. So she's 9.5, so that will be in the middle of 9 and 10. So that's this line here. Now remember, the graph shows the average height. So if Zoe was the average height for her age, she would be 135 centimetres. But we know that she's 1.38 metres, so that's 138 centimetres. Now we need to know how much taller than average is she. So the average is 135, but she's 138. So if we find the difference, we can see that she's 3 centimetres taller than average.